5 specifically addressed at the United Nations maternal health and the health of women and children. The new Sustainable Development Goals released last year have, I believe, 3 to 4 provisions within them on maternal health. Maternal health continues to be a struggle around the world, and you'll hear about that in a second. They also ensure our right to work and to own a business. Can you imagine not being able to own a business because of your gender? Well, this still happens around the world, but that has changed. One specific example I can give you that is reflected in the 50 Women books is in the Russian Federation, CEDAW has been used to eliminate bride kidnappings. So this was the practice of going out, snatching a woman up off the street and making her your wife, and she just has to be happy with that and can't question it. Well, not so much anymore. In the country of Georgia, local administrations and police have made laws against this and have been diligent about enforcing these laws over the last 2 decades. And if you read the 50 Women book, you can read about that in one woman's story. What did CEDAW do globally? Here's just a couple of examples. One specific example I'd love to give is in Mexico, right? There's a lot of issues on domestic violence in Mexico, has been for a long time. But it got to a point where all 32 Mexican states adopted the measure, all 32. But the US has not managed to ratify it. We still remain one of few member states that has not. Kenya has used it to address inheritance rights. Bangladesh, and Noe will be speaking about being from the Bangladesh-Burma border, has used it to attain gender parity and increase school enrollment of women. So it's a very important tool, as you can see. When Women's Intercultural Network has launched the Cities for CEDAW campaign a few years ago, and the goal is, if the federal government isn't going to get it done, we can get it done. At the state level, at the national level, at the global level, we can get it done, and we are getting it done. Our goal is to get 100 municipal CEDAW ordinances out by 2018. And this is just some of the information, and we're happy to hand this out later and share with you later. But just to let you know, San Francisco was the first city in the US to ratify the CEDAW ordinance, which I find to be amazing, and it makes me very proud to live here, right? So we have tools in place in San Francisco that help us. We have recently had success. The Iranian Circle of Women's Intercultural Network just got it passed with the help of City Councilwoman Susie Price in Long Beach. So they have now adopted it, and they will be putting this policy to work in the city of Long Beach. These are just an example of 32 cities are exploring ordinances, 19 have passed. So we are moving fast. If the federal government and if the new administration should choose not to move quickly, that's okay, because we're gonna do this at the city level. So I want you guys very quickly to have an example of how CEDAW has worked in Uganda, specifically dealing with land ownership rights. WIN's global partner, Women's Intercultural Network's global partner, Siobhan Neelan, is here, and she's gonna briefly tell you how this important tool has worked in Uganda for women.
Jessica. Hi everyone, I'm Siobhan. I'm the founder of the One Mama organization and the Fighting for Joy community movement. So how I'm partnered with is with the WIN organization. So One Mama is, I'm the United Nations global partner. I work on behalf of land rights as a global partner for WIN and as a United Nations delegate. So bringing a voice to my community in Uganda. So what One Mama does is we help impoverished women have babies safely, HIV prevention from mother to baby, birthing kits, medical supplies, malaria testing treatment, HIV testing, and then vocational education. So how we fund ourselves, like half of what I'm wearing, basically my outfit saves about 200 lives. And this is made by the community, we teach the community how to make it, and this is how we fund ourselves. So if we go back to the last slide, I'm terrible with this stuff. Anyway, basically it says those are the things that we need to, how it changes. So part of why WIN and One Mama worked together was to start seeing how we can actually make these changes on the ground. So from a vocational standpoint, we're noticing, we started a domestic violence program in our community last year, and I realized 69 to 79% of the community is under some form of violence that are females 14 to 49. So we decided that it was actually impacting the clinic. It was actually impacting the community. We couldn't actually handle the birthing problems because we had these other problems. So everything is so interrelated that you have to deal with each one of these stages. And what I think is why she's having me talk about it is that we started doing this from the ground level, and we can see the impact within a year. Already we're seeing less instances of domestic violence in our village. And this is a community that women feel like if they're not loved if they're not hit, and men feel like if they don't hit, they're not a man. So we're dealing with those kinds of issues. So what we want to do is show that we can bring these kinds of issues and show the change even in these kind of places, and show those kinds of changes here at the city level. And if we can do those kinds of changes in Uganda, we should be able to do them in the United States. So if you have any more questions about anything that I have to do with this, you can just reach out to us, and I'm here to support WIN and One Mama, and thank you for letting me be part of this.
Thank you, Siobhan.